The music was too loud. The laughter too bright. Everyone looked so happy. Everyone except Emily. She sat alone at the corner table, her lilac bridesmaid dress wrinkled at the knees, pretending to smile at her untouched plate. It was her sister's wedding, the happiest day of the family's life. And yet somehow, Emily felt like a guest at her own heartbreak. Just a few tables away, her ex-boyfriend sat laughing with his new girlfriend. The kind of woman who looked effortlessly perfect, glowing in red. Every time Emily's eyes accidentally met his, he smirked, that cruel, knowing smirk that said, "You lost." When the music shifted to a slow, romantic song, couples filled the dance floor. Emily shrank deeper into her chair, pretending to check her phone. She could feel the whispers around her. Poor Emily, still single. She needed air. She stood, forcing a smile, and slipped outside of the patio. Cool night air brushed her face. She inhaled deeply. "It's fine," she whispered to herself. "You're happy for your sister. You're fine." But she wasn't. That's when she heard a small voice behind her. "Miss, are you crying?" Emily blinked. A little boy, maybe 6, stood near the doorway in a tiny gray suit, holding a half-eaten cupcake. His brown eyes were big and sincere. She quickly wiped her eyes and forced a smile. "No, sweetie, just taking a break." He nodded seriously, then ran off toward the dance floor. Moments later, she saw him tug on the hand of a tall man near the buffet. The man turned, following the boy's pointing finger, right toward her. Their eyes met. His were warm, curious, protective. Then he started walking toward her. "Oh, no," Emily muttered under her breath. "Now I look like the weirdo crying at a wedding." "Hey," he said gently as he reached her. "My son said you look sad." "I'm fine," Emily said quickly, brushing her hair behind her ear, just enjoying the fresh air. He smiled, the kind of smile that didn't judge. "Yeah, I get that. Weddings can be a lot." Emily chuckled. "You have no idea." "I'm Daniel," he said, offering his hand. Single dad. Professional cake taster tonight. That made her laugh. Emily, bridesmaid, professional third wheel. They both laughed, and that laughter broke the tension like sunlight through clouds. For a while, they just talked about the terrible DJ, the over-decorated cake, the flowered girl who kept eating the petals instead of throwing them. Daniel's son, Max, ran up every few minutes with hilarious commentary that made Emily laugh for the first time that night. Then, the music changed again, another couple's dance. Emily froze. Her ex and his new girlfriend stepped onto the floor, holding each other close. The sight punched her right in the chest. Daniel noticed. He followed her gaze, then quietly said the words that would change everything. "Act like you're with me." "What?" She blinked. He smiled softly. "Trust me." Before she could react, he stepped closer, gently placed his hand on her waist, and held out the other. "Let's give them something to talk about." Emily hesitated, then laughed nervously. "You don't even know how bad I am at dancing." "Perfect," he said with a wink. "I'm terrible too." And somehow they danced, not gracefully, but honestly. He twirled her once, nearly bumping into another couple. She laughed so hard she forgot where she was. For a few minutes, the whispers, the loneliness, the ache, they all disappeared. Then she saw him, her ex, staring at them, stunned, his smile gone, his hand stiff around his new girlfriend. Daniel leaned close and whispered, "You look beautiful tonight." "He's an idiot." Emily froze. No one had said that to her in so long. Not like that, not with kindness, not with truth. When the song ended, she pulled back, her chest tight with emotion she couldn't name. "Thank you," she said softly. "Anytime," he replied with that same gentle smile. Before she could say more, Max came running toward them with 2 slices of cake. "Dad, I got one for you and the pretty lady." Emily laughed, kneeling down. "Thanks, Max. You're quite the gentleman." Max beamed. "You should sit with us. Daddy says it's rude to let nice people eat alone." Daniel grinned. He's got a point. And for the first time that night, Emily didn't sit alone. They shared cake, jokes, and small stories until the night began to fade. Her mother whispered to her aunt. Her sister smiled knowingly from across the room. But Emily didn't care. When it was time to leave, Daniel handed her a card. "If you ever need a fake wedding partner again," he said playfully, "you know where to find me. We make a pretty good team." Emily smiled, her heart unexpectedly light. "I'll keep that in mind." As she walked toward her car, she caught a reflection in a window. Her eyes brighter, her shoulders lighter. For the first time in a long, well, she didn't feel invisible. All it took was one stranger, one kind man, who saw her not as a shadow in the crowd, but as someone worth standing beside. But what happened next would truly shock her. Backhand Index Point Right, stay tuned for part 2, where a chance encounter at a grocery store would change Emily's life forever. If you believe one small act of kindness can rewrite someone's story, hit that subscribe button and let's finish this together. Red Heart. 2 weeks later, Emily stood in line at the grocery store, scrolling through her phone, half listening to the soft pop song playing over the speakers. It had been a long day, and she was just trying to get through it. Frozen dinners, coffee, and a half-hearted attempt at healthy snacks. Then she heard a familiar laugh. A warm, low chuckle that made her head lift before her heart even caught up. "Emily?" She turned, and there he was, Daniel, cart full of snacks and Little Macs, waving from the seat like they'd known each other forever. Her lips curved into a genuine smile. The professional cake taster returns. Daniel laughed, "Only on weekends." Then a pause, soft, familiar, almost comforting. "How have you been?" They talked for a few minutes, light and easy. Small talk turned to laughter, and laughter turned to comfort, until Max leaned forward in the cart and whispered, loud enough for everyone in line to hear, "Daddy, invite her to dinner again." Daniel blinked, embarrassed. "Max!" But Emily laughed, her cheeks pink. "Persistent little guy, huh?" Max just grinned. "I like nice people." That one line hit Emily harder than she expected. Nice people. How rare that felt lately. How long it had been since kindness was that simple. No agenda, no expectation. Just people seeing people. She smiled. "All right then, dinner it is." And that's how it started. What began as one dinner turned into 2, then 3, then every weekend. Emily found herself looking forward to those moments. The messy laughter, the spilled juice, the board games, the inside jokes. Max had a habit of drawing stick figures of 3 of them, Dad, Emily, and me, holding hands. Every time he showed one, Daniel would cough awkwardly and Emily would smile, not knowing what to say. But slowly, something was changing. Emily, who had once felt like a ghost in her own life, was coming back to color. Her laughter was real again. Her heart didn't ache the same way anymore. And yet, it wasn't the affection that changed her most. It was what Daniel said one quiet evening as they cleaned up after dinner. They were rinsing dishes side by side, Max already asleep on the couch. The kitchen light was warm, golden, the kind that makes everything feel safe. Daniel broke the silence. "You know, I saw you that night at the wedding." Emily paused, wiping her hands. "Before you came over?" He nodded. "Yeah, you looked like someone who'd forgotten her own worth. And I just wanted to remind you." Her throat tightened. "Remind me of what?" "That you don't have to wait for people to choose you. Emily, you can choose yourself. And when you do, the right people show up." The words hit deep. It wasn't pity in his voice. It was understanding. He'd been there, standing alone at someone else's celebration, pretending to be fine while falling apart inside. For a long time, they stood there. No music, no audience, just 2 people who knew what heartbreak felt like and what healing could sound like when shared in silence. The next morning, something shifted in her. Emily woke up early, looked out the window at the rising sun, and for the first time in years, felt like she wanted to do something. Not just for herself, but for others who felt the way she once did. Invisible, unwanted, forgotten. She called her mother. Then she called the local community center. By the end of the week, she was volunteering, helping organize a weekend event for single parents and their kids. And when she told Daniel, he smiled that quiet, proud smile. Told you, he said, when you choose yourself, everything changes. That Saturday, the community center buzzed with laughter and music. Kids painted faces, played games, and parents shared stories over coffee and cupcakes. Emily moved from table to table, helping, greeting, laughing, until she saw her, a young woman, sitting alone in the corner, awkward, withdrawn, her dress too fancy for the casual crowd, her smile fragile, the same kind of smile Emily had worn that night at the wedding. Without thinking, Emily walked over. "Hey," she said softly, "would you like to sit with us?" The girl looked up, surprised, then smiled back, small, shy, grateful. And in that moment, Emily understood what Daniel meant all along. Kindness was a chain reaction. One act, one word, one small gesture could light up someone else's darkness. Sometimes it started with something as small as, "Act like you're with me." Weeks passed. Seasons shifted. Emily, Daniel, and Max became a quiet little trio. Not labeled, not rushed, just connected. They went on picnics, movie nights, Sunday pancake disasters. And one evening, as the three of them sat watching the sunset in the park, Max leaned against Emily's shoulder and said drowsily, "You know, Daddy smiles more when you're here." Daniel laughed softly, eyes shining. "He's not the only one." Emily smiled back, her heart full. For the first time, she realized she wasn't waiting for a fairy tale anymore. She was living one, a real one, the kind that grows slowly, quietly, built on laughter, healing, and simple, genuine care. Months later, she attended another wedding, her sister's anniversary celebration. This time, she wasn't sitting alone. Daniel stood beside her, Max holding both their hands, dancing clumsily in the middle of the floor. Her ex was there too, older, thinner, distant. He caught her eye for a moment, but this time, Emily didn't feel anger or sadness, just peace, because she'd finally learned that losing someone wasn't the end. It was the beginning of finding yourself. When the night ended, Daniel wrapped his jacket around her shoulders and whispered, "You know, I think you might be my favorite fake wedding date." She smiled, "And you might just be my favorite real one. If you believe that kindness always finds its way back, and that sometimes one small act can change a life forever, Sparkling Heart hit subscribe." Speech balloons share this story with someone who needs to hear it, because real love doesn't always start with fireworks. Sometimes it starts with a quiet whisper, "Act like you're with me."